Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for everybody that have been watching, liking, supporting. I truly appreciate it. And if you are new to this channel, welcome. So these videos that I've been doing lately, we've been diving into the dreams that have been given to people from God. And basically we are looking into the dreams to understand what is going on, what the dreams mean, and so that we can understand God's nature and in turn understand which of our dreams are from God. I hope that these videos will help you to better understand God more, ignite you to read the word more for yourself, and also to help you to grow your relationship with God so that you can better understand your dreams, interpret them, and also know how to steward your gift of dreams. So today we are going to dive into Genesis 31. The last video we were on Genesis 28 and we were going over the famous ladder to heaven, which was a dream given to Jacob. So we're going to go to the second dream that Jacob receives from God. And this is basically an important, very important dream because this is a dream where God tells Jacob to go back home. Now, first in the videos, we will read the dream and then we will go over, the context of what happens, before and what happens and before the dream and what causes, Jacob to have the dream and what happens after the dream. And then we dive into the actual dream, what it means, what God is telling the dreamer, and what we can learn from that dream. So normally I am read from the amplified version of the Everyday Bible by Joyce Meyer, but on the screen I will have the verses in NIV because it's easier for most people to read in that version. So the words are going to be they're going to be a little bit different, but it's all the same. So if you could take out your Bibles, if you do have it in front of you, and open to Genesis 31, and we're going to start from verse 10 and read up to verse 13, which is where we hear about the dream. Now, what's different about this dream today is that we're actually being told about the dream, and we're not actually reading about the dream in real time while he's having it in real time. The other dreams, it's usually we're reading while as the dreamer is having the dream. Right? If this is different, is that he is actually Jacob is telling his wives of the dream he had years ago. All right. So it says, and I had a dream at the time the flock conceived. I looked up and saw that the rams which mated with the she-goats were streaked, speckled, and spotted. And the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, here am I. And he said, look up and see all the rams which mate with the flock are streaked, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban does to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar, and where you vowed a vow to me. Now arise, get out from this land, and return to your native land. So before we go any further, I'm going to say a quick prayer just to prepare our hearts for today's word. Dear God, thank you for this video. Thank you for the people that are watching this video right now. And oh Lord, may you speak to each and every individual that is watching this video, and may you open their hearts, open their ears, and open their eyes to what you want them to see, oh Lord. And may they gain more understanding of you, oh Lord, more understanding of the word, and may they receive revelations, any revelation that you want them to receive from today's word, and may they gain more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so that they may better interpret their own personal dreams that you have placed, that you have given them, O Lord. And may we learn and grow from this today's word, O Lord. And thank you, O Lord. Amen. Okay, so so this dream, as we've read, he's actually talking to his wives about this dream. Now, it is said that he had this dream 6 years ago. How we know this is when you read Genesis 30. When you have time, make sure to read Genesis 30, because this actually helps you to understand. This actually shows you what he is talking about when he is telling the dream to his wives. Is basically evidence of what he's talking about in Genesis 31 when he's mentioning his dream. So before this dream, he had his first encounter. If you haven't watched the video, we talk about the first encounter he had where he had the dream of the ladder to heaven. And this was very important because it happened at a time where he is at a crossroads in his life. He had to flee from home because he lied to his father, and essentially his father, I guess, forgives him for what he for deceiving him. And Rachel had to his mom had to convince his father to to go to his brother Laban, to go to her brother Laban. So Isaac tells him to go find a wife, and he has a dream on his journey to find his wife, and he anoints a pillar and worships God and calls it Bethel, which means house of God. And he goes ahead and he sees Rachel. He meets Laban, and he tells Laban that he wants to marry Rachel, and he tells him to work for 7 years to have her hand in marriage, but then tricks him, and he ends up having sleeping with Leah. And he tells him, well, she is the oldest, and in their culture, you have to marry the oldest. So if he wants to have Rachel, he had to work another 7 years, so end up working for 14 years. Now that he's completed those years, it's time for him to leave, and Laban knows that. So God knows that Laban is going to ask him to work extra years. So he gives him a dream where he shows him how he is, what kind of agreement to present to Laban for him to stay for a few more years, which ends up being 6 years. So he works for Laban for 20 years in total, when it was only supposed to be 14 years according to the laws and customs of that time. You see the request Jacob makes is odd, and wonder why he makes such a request. And the dream explains that God gave him the strategy and direction. So God had seen what Laban was doing to Jacob, and God was working and protecting Jacob. He was aware of how Laban was attempting to take advantage of Jacob. And the Lord was letting Jacob know he would intervene for Jacob's good. God told Jacob he would repay him for the years he had been cheated by Laban by supernaturally influencing the breeding of the animals. So when you read Genesis 30, you're kind of like confused of like how like the methods are really odd. It's not normal methods of of the normal agricultural methods. It's not normal agricultural methods that he does. And, Laban agrees to it because he sees that the Lord's hand is on Jacob, and he knows that he will benefit from Jacob's work. But he doesn't realize that that agreement will actually work to Jacob's favor and will make him even more wealthier than before. And as a result, Laban is not happy about this. After those 6 years, he's seeing that, Jacob is doing very well, and he's not happy about that. His sons, are not happy about that. And they say that, Jacob is taking his riches. And, Jacob hears this, and this is when the Lord tells him, okay, now it's time for you to go home. And this is a time where he has to tell his wife, now he's worried, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. Now he's worried, so he has to tell his wives, about the dream, and how he is being successful, and it's because of the Lord, and it's not because of their father, that they've been doing well, and that it was time for them to leave, and they actually would not benefit staying in their homeland with their father, and they essentially agree to this, and to them leaving, and they realize that their father has been greedy and not cheating Jacob, which in turn cheating them because they are married to Jacob, so they are one with Jacob. So since him mistreating Jacob was him mistreating them as well. So they were not happy about that. So they agreed to leave with him and to take all their belongings, their children, everything, and go back, to where God said is his promised land, where he promised Abraham, Isaac, and him in before he went on his journey to Laban. So now we're going to go into the dream, like start interpreting the dream so we can see how God helped him, with those agricultural methods that we see in Genesis 30. So it says, "And I had a dream at the time the flock conceived. I looked up and saw that the rams which mated with the she goats were streaked, speckled, and spotted. And the angel of God said to me in the dream, 'Jacob.' And I said, 'Here am I.' And he said, 'Look up and see all the rams which mate with the flock are streaked, speckled, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban does to you.'" So here we learn that the blessing of blessed production of sheep and goats described in Genesis 30, verses 37 to 43, was in some way revealed to Jacob in a dream. Jacob did not only use clever agricultural methods, more importantly, he had blessing of God. So that section, verses 10 to 12, basically explains how he what he's doing in Genesis, how he knew what to do in Genesis 30, verses 37 to 43. So if you have in your spare time, have a chance, go read Genesis 30 for yourself so you can see, and, and maybe God will reveal even more revelations for you as you read the word for yourself. And also, read the dream too in your personal time and, pray about it and see what God speaks to you through that as well. You could get your own personal revelation from that dream as well. So you see that, God, this is an example of a strategy dream and also a directional dream. If you haven't seen one of my videos, I explain like 6 common dreams that we receive from God. And well, the one of them I mentioned is a strategy dream. This is when God shows you like what to do so that you can be successful in an area, or you can do well. And basically, it's a way to show that God is with you and He's showing you what you need to do. So He helped Jacob in an undesirable situation because he didn't want to be there anymore. He actually was only he only planned to be there 7 years, and he ended up working 14 years and then an extra 6 years. But God gave him a strategy in a time that he wanted to leave. His boss was terrible and mistreated him. And he had evidence of this because you see in the beginning of Genesis 31, before he tells the wife the dream, that Laban's sons are complaining to Laban, and he's starting to really feel that Laban is not favorable to him. That he's starting to despise him, and he wants to go against him. And God knows all of this. And we see verse 13, this is how we know that God knows about this, is that He says that I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you vowed a vow to me. Okay, so now He's letting him know that I am the same God that came to you when we had the first encounter, and you poured the oil on the pillar, and you worship me and named the place Bethel. And it says, now rise, get out from this land and return to your native land. So the first time God encountered Jacob, he was leaving home. Now He's coming back to him again, and He's telling him, okay, it's time for you to go back home. And before he, and I believe when He told him in the dream, now arise, get out from this land and return to your native land, He was telling him that after you do all these things, in the 6 years that you're working for Laban, there's going to be a time I'm going to tell you to go back home, and you need to obey and go. It says now arise, get out from this land and return to your land is like, is commanding him. Like when I tell you to go, it's a command. There's no ifs, buts, or maybe. Like when I tell you it's time to go, you have to leave. And then you see in verse 3, then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your people, and I will be with you. This is him reminding him, I am still with you. Even, you know, when I gave you the dream, the first time I told you I'll be with you, and I showed you that I was with you. I came again and I gave you another dream, and I told you that I'll be with you, and I showed you I was with you because you still gained wealth, and I protected you. Laban didn't hurt you, even though he was, being greedy and mistreating you. I was still with you, and it was important for Jacob to know that, he would be with him because it was not going to be easy for him to go back home. So he needed that reassurance that God will be with him. And he knew that he had to obey that command because he already saw that his sons are complaining. Laban's sons are complaining about him. So when God told him it was time to go, he knew that, okay, I need to tell my wives about the dream and it's time for us to go. So God had everything planned. And this dream also shows us this dream shows us a few things. One, it shows us a few things. One, it shows us that, God can give you strategy and can give you strategy or direction in a time where things are undesirable. You could be in a job, for example, that you hate or you dislike, or maybe you're being mistreated, and God could make you to have a promotion in that area, in that job, or show you a new skill so that you can do well and have favor in that area. But it doesn't mean that he wants you to stay there forever. There could be a reason that he wants you to be there. Maybe he wants you to intercede for people there. Maybe he wants you to disciple some people in that place before it's time for you to move on to the next place. He knows that you're not supposed to be there, that you're not happy there, but maybe he has an assignment for you in that place before he moves you to the next place that you need to be, where your assignment is, where your promise is. Another thing this dream shows us is that, to be careful when it comes to revealing or sharing your dreams with people. There was probably a reason why, we can see that, Jacob didn't mention this dream when he received it. We know this because we don't hear of this dream in the previous chapters. We don't hear of this dream before he makes the agreement with Laban. So this teaches us, to be careful who we share our dreams to. I was having a conversation with somebody about dreams, and we're talking about how it can be dangerous to share the dreams that we have to the wrong people. Um, and I've heard of people who said that, they share a dream with the wrong people. And the reason they realize that it's the wrong people is because something negative would happen afterwards. They will think that, there's something wrong with you. Or maybe they think that you are into witchcraft, or that you're a witch, or, that you're superstitious, or you could give the wrong interpretation, or maybe they're not, or maybe you share a dream with somebody because that person is in your dream, or maybe they're not ready to hear about they're not meant to hear about that dream. Maybe it's for you to reveal. Maybe that dream is to reveal something about that person, and not necessarily to share that dream with that person. It could be harmful to share the dream with them. So I feel like the reason why now Jacob is telling the dream to his wives, because now they'll believe that God is with them, that God was protecting them, that God was providing the wealth, because they have evidence of what has been happening those 6 years that Jacob was working, and that those methods that he was using, he can be like, this is the reason why I was using those methods. Um, Imagine if he told, after he had the dream, he told his wives, like, hey, these are the methods that God has given me, so that, so that when your father comes to extend the contract, my working contract. Maybe the wives would have gone and told, their father, and then the father would have used that information against him, and then now he is in a bind. So we don't know. Maybe that would have happened. So this, I feel like this dream shows us that, to be careful, um, and not to be quick to reveal your dreams, and how sacred dreams are. And that when God gives you a strategy, not to be quick to reveal it to other people, to let people know, and to keep it to yourself. Some dreams you just have to keep to yourself because it's sacred and they're for you. He gave you that dream to you for a reason, and there's a reason why he had to tell his wives years later, because his wives were in a bitter rivalry at this time, and they probably wouldn't be, on the same page as him if he had told them after he had received the dream. Right when he received the dream, they probably wouldn't be on the same page, and would have made it even harder for him to leave. Um, so this, it teaches us that, to be careful who we reveal our dreams to, and not to be quick to reveal our dreams. And also, another thing it teaches us is that, God can give us strategy even in places that are undesirable, but that doesn't mean that that's where we're meant to be, forever. God can give you favor in places that you are meant to leave. And, there's always a reason. Nothing is a waste when it comes to God. He always turns, undesirable situations for his good. And we see that, with Jacob. And also, this dream also shows how God will protect you and give you favor in, even when you are in sin, even when you have had you've done things that are undesirable to him. He will still have grace, and he'll still give you favor. And he doesn't go back on his words. He told him that he will be with him, and he was with him. Even though he was being mistreated, God was with him. Sometimes, um, sometimes we think that when a situation is undesirable, it means that God is not with us. This shows us that that is not true. Even though, things are not going the way that he planned, things did not go the way that he planned from the beginning, God was still with him. And things did turn out for his good. And God always prepares us for the next season, for the next assignment. And just because he gave him a dream and he was going to be with him, and he he was protecting him, and he said that he was going to be with him, it didn't mean that that journey to the next assignment was going to be easy. And you will see that as time goes on, that it's, even though God was with him and told him that it's time to leave, that it was going to be uncomfortable and was not going to be easy, and he would basically had to sneak out to leave the land. He had to make sure that Laban didn't know that he was leaving. It wasn't like, hey, Laban, I'm leaving. It was good working for you for 20 years. He basically had to sneak away for him to go back to Gilead, and then go back, and then in the end be back home. Um, so this teaches. So this also teaches us that even after God, reveals to us our assignment, and, takes us out of the situation that, he takes us out of a situation, there's going to be a time where it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be easy, before, the promise is fulfilled, before we get our breakthrough, before that blessing is given to us. There is going to be a time where it's going to be uncomfortable, where you're gonna experience some type of attack, but God will always show you that He is with you, that He is protecting you. And sometimes you won't feel like He is with you, but He may give you another dream to show you that, to stay the course, and to that He's with you, that there's certain things you need to do, and for the promise to be fulfilled, and that He does not go back on His word. And also Him saying that I'm the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar. This is Him saying that I'm the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That I never change. I'm the same God that was with you years ago, even though things are different, the circumstances are changing, things are not going the way that you plan. I'm still the same God. I don't go back on my word. I still will fulfill the promise that I told Abraham, Isaac, and you. It is still going to happen. But we still have to do our part and obey. We still need to obey. We still need to have faith, and we still need to, believe in that word, and know and stand on that word, and know that he will fulfill what He said. There is the book that I've been reading about dreams. Stephanie Ike Okafor, I think that's what it is. She mentioned how, like, when she had come to like having overflow of money, I guess she received like extra money. She wanted to invest, but didn't know, how, where to invest and how to invest. And she received a dream, a strategy dream of like where to invest, and how to do it, and how much to invest. And I'm summarizing, I don't remember the exact dream. She mentions it in the book. And she ended up getting a huge return of investment by following that strategy she was given in a dream, which is great, because God does give strategy dreams if we pray and ask for that. Let me know if you got like a strategy dream, and what kind of, if you can, and it's has come to fruition, if you can share it, let me know in the comments section below, like what kind of strategy dream that you received, and how God helped you. And if you can share it, make sure to write your dreams down in your journal, and take note of what the details in those dreams is very important. As soon 90 it said that 90 seconds after waking up, to write your dreams down and write every single detail. And especially if it's a strategy or directional dream, like any dream you feel like is from the Lord. And hopefully these videos will help you to understand God's nature and know that the dream is from God, and that He's the one that is giving you the strategy. And hopefully this will encourage you if you're going through a tough time, that God is with you, and that He will give you a way to go through that difficult season, or difficult situation in your life, and that He will give you a strategy or direction, or He will give you a promise that will just give you hope and help you to, keep going, and not to give up hope, and to remember to obey. If He gives you a strategy, to obey, because obedience leads to blessing. Stay tuned for other videos, because in the future videos we will see when it is dangerous to reveal your dreams to the wrong people. What happens? We get evidence of that. So you'll get to see, like, Jacob was smart about his dream, revealing it later on, and you'll see when it's dangerous to reveal your dreams too early, and how that transpires, and what happens after that, and how that can hinder you from fulfilling what your purpose or your assignment. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that was helpful. And if it was, let me know in the comment section. And I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.